Hey everybody, Neil Thompson, founder of Teach the Geek here. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. You're giving a technical presentations and you want to make sure that your slides are as visually appealing as possible. One thing you want to note is that while you do want your slides to look nice, you don't want them to take away from the message, the actual words that are coming out of your mouth. There's been so many instances where people have a whole lot of bells and whistles on their slides, and then you get to the end of the presentation and you don't even remember what the presentation was about because you're paying attention to all the bells and whistles. So here are three tips on how to make your slides visually appealing without taking away from your message. Number one, you want to make sure that the text to background contrast is clear. So you there certainly can be colors that your brand has, but if you do have certain colors, make sure that those colors don't contrast with make sure they do contrast with each other actually. So for instance, my colors are yellow and blue. If I were to have yellow text on a blue background, it actually stands out really well. So the words are easy to read. But if you were to have two colors that are more close together in terms of how they look, maybe red and orange, then it might be difficult to read red text on an orange background or vice versa. So make sure there's enough contrast between the text and the background of your slides. Number two, you want to make sure that you have minimal text on your slide because, well, one, it keeps you from just reading your slides. You don't want to be that person just reading the slides, not looking at the audience, and then the audience doesn't look at you, and then they don't listen to your presentation, and essentially you've wasted your time and theirs. You want to make it so that there's less text on your slides, so it precludes you from having to from reading, and it also precludes the audience from reading because if they're reading, then they're not listening. It's very difficult to do two things at once. And then number three, you want if you're going to have text or if you're going to have graphs and tables on your slides, you would want to give them titles that convey what you want people to take away from that slide or from that graph or from that table. So often the especially for technical presentations, the title will be the X and Y axis, essentially. What those things are, X versus Y or Y versus X. Y is a function of X. And that's going to be the title. But especially if you're talking to a non-technical audience, they may not even know the significance of the X and Y axis. That's something you'll have to explain to them. And a great way to at least start that conversation is to give it a title that would convey what you want the people to take away from that slide. So they don't have to think too hard about what that slide, why that slide's even on, or why that graph or table is on the slide at all. You want to make it as easy as possible for them to make that connection. So those are the three tips. Number one, you want to make sure that the contrast between the text and the background is clear so that it's easy to read. Number two, you want to minimize the text as best as you can so people aren't tempted to just read your slides and not listen to what you have to say. And you're not tempted to read your slides so they don't listen to what you have to say. And then number three, you want to give graphs and tables, those types of visual elements, titles that especially non-technical audiences can take away from and know exactly why that graph or table is on the slide. Hopefully that helps. Again, my name is Neil Thompson. I'm the founder of Teach the Geek. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially for non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. Until next time, take care and stay safe.